everybody. This is Brian Rawson, aka King of Retro, coming to you from the Nerd Bunker, and today I'm going to show you a little bit of my comic book collection. Okay, as promised, this is, well, only a very, very small percentage of my comic book collection, but this is what I like to consider some of my rare finds, and not necessarily rare as in, like, you know, everybody has typical, like, you know, well, I wouldn't say typical, but, you know, first appearance of Green Lantern, or, you know, first World's Finest, where, you know, Batman and Superman meet, or something like that, or a first appearance of Lois Lane. These are just more oddball comics, and a lot of them are associated with toy lines. So I got about maybe 40 to 50 here that I'll show you today, and we'll go through it. These here are just some mainly classic 60s and 70s comics. Call the Destroyer, Red Sonja, X-Men number 2, X-Men Volume 1 number 87, Black Panther, some early Incredible Hulks, one of the first team-ups of Spider-Man and Iron Man, early Daredevil. That's a Sectaurs comic. I don't know if any of you remember the Sectaurs toy line with the insects that could telepathically link with their insect riders. And these are Transformers, but not the Marvel line that was released in America. These were the Transformers and Action Force series, which was kind of like a subdivision of G.I. Joe, but not really G.I. Joe, and then it translated over into the American version of the Transformers in G.I. Joe when they made it into Marvel. These are really rare to find pretty much anywhere. They're about twice the size of a normal comic. They're really cool. The storylines, much different, but they're a great series. They're a great find. I love them. This was one of my favorite American Marvel comics here. This is the first appearance, and well, actually only appearance, of Spider-Man when it was just the black suit before it became known as Venom. Spider-Man versus Megatron. That was a really cool appearance, and just pretty awesome cover. Up here, if you remember the Mad Balls toy line, that was a series that they did. A lot of these are Star Comics, which were a spin-off of the Marvel line. And then we have Thundercats, which are extremely hard to find comics, because most of these were only released in South America. So they're very, very hard to find. Really great artwork on those as well. And then this, if you remember the Centurions, this was the only 4-part series ever released. We have an original Flash Gordon, some old Supermans, Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal, a really cool Superman here where he has to enter hell to save Lois Lane. That's a really cool one here. Moving right along, we have, this is probably obscure, only some really hardcore nerds would know this. This was from the Chuck Norris Karate Commando TV series that only had one season run. So there was barely any merchandise made for the show, so that made everything that came out for the series extremely valuable. This is from the TV show and toy line, The Inhumanoids. And, of course, the A-Team. They had a 3-part miniseries comic that came out. Love the color on that and the artwork as well. And moving along, we have some comics from the Masters of the Universe series. Also a pretty hard find. Very cool. He-Man versus Skeletor there in the end of a 3-part series. And then finally, this is a G.I. Joe Order of Battle comic that was signed by Zach Hoffman and Morgan Lofting, who Zach Hoffman played Zartan on the animated series, and Morgan Lofting was the Baroness. This collection right here, especially the Transformers UK guys, they're probably anywhere between $10 to $20 a pop. I would say that this whole collection right here, just because of the scarcity of the comics, and since a lot of these were made by toy lines, that makes them much rarer than your typical Superman, X-Men comics. This whole collection right here is probably in the range of about $500 to $600, and these are my favorite comics for my collection, and glad I could share them with you today.